It is not the first time we hear the words that our Earth is full. We are living in a world where our demands and the rate at which we consume our resources is overcoming the rate at which these resources are being renewed. If we don't take action, like Paul Gilding says, our children and our future generations may not be able to see how great this planet we live is and how diverse and rich it is. We think that we have the capacity as a society to respond to any situation, no matter how serious it is. It has been proven by taking a look at the past. Just like Gilding mentions in his 1-degree war plan, we have been able to cope to many tragedies that endangered our society like 9/11 and World War II. But if we take a closer look at these events, we waited until we experienced these crises firsthand, and then we responded after. This is not something we can risk to do when we take a look at the planet we live in and the millions of people that depend on it. Our population is increasing at a very fast rate. According to David Attenborough, our population increases more than 2 people every second, 200,000 every day, and 1.8 million every year. It has a major effect on factors such as water, food, and shelter, because humans rely on these 3 things to survive. As he says, we are living in beyond the means of our environment and what Earth has to offer to sustain us. And as humans, we have the capacity to think rationally, think ahead, and plan ahead.
Using resources, our future generations are going to struggle to live on our planet, as our air becomes more polluted and water becomes scarce. Water is one of our most, if not the most important resource in the world, and most of the time we take it for granted. Even though there's 70% of water in our planet, only 1% is drinkable. In the US, the average consumption is of 1,700 cubic meters. Every 21 seconds, a child dies from a water-related illness. Emissions are increasing, and while that doesn't seem like a bad thing, it negatively affects our climate. Over the past 50 years, the average temperature has increased by 1 degree. If it gets to 3.6 degrees, the glaciers will melt, leading to more sources of water being reduced. The burning of fossil fuels is a source of energy, so while it's bad for the environment, big companies don't care. They just want the money out of it. We need to educate people on how essential our resources are, so we don't take them for granted and we can try to reduce our consumption.
Peter Diamandis was born in a Western society and received the privileges that people in developing countries do not. He promotes the idea that abundance is our future, whereas Paul Gilding argues that the planet is full and we need to act in order to face the upcoming crisis. We agree with Paul Gilding and disagree with Peter Diamandis. The predicted population of the planet by 2050 is expected to be 9 billion. There are only finite natural resources on this planet and we're consuming them at a rapid rate. We are stealing from the future. We are facing overpopulation, and because of that, numerous women and children around the world, and especially in developing countries, lack food, clothing, and shelter. And to them, technology is of no use if they cannot survive in this competitive world. China and India combine for 35% of the world's population. They are booming in terms of technology, but at the same time are causing high levels of air pollution and depleting their own natural resources at a very rapid pace. There's a high shortage of clean water in the majority of India. Poverty is still a major problem in these 2 countries. Peter mentions the fact that people below the poverty line in the US have all the basic necessities, but he fails to see that India and China have people that live at $2.50 a day and are dying every day due to the lack of fresh water and food. 942 million people do not have enough food as of right now, and 98% of the undernourished population lives in developing countries. Technology in these 2 countries has helped these countries to become more and more westernized, but it cannot prevent the tensions between the nuclear powers in Asia. Pakistan gets majority of its water from a river that runs through parts of India, and tensions are expected to rise sooner than later relating to the control of this water resource, and could also lead to a major war amongst the 2.
The Earth is full, limited resources, an unsustainable economy, and the rich country illusion has ultimately put our planet in a crisis. The world uses ecological capital in an unsustainable way by overusing biocapacity. The decline is due to erosion of ecosystems like water, air, farmlands, from human waste and neglect. In the USA, the available biocapacity is 6.7, whereas the ecological deficit is minus 3.6. This negative ecological deficit indicates depletion of natural assets and that the economy is unsustainable since there's a continual decline. So why does instability matter? Think if a country specializes in the production of a particular good that is increasingly being used up. This may force the country to cut imports and reduce exports, which would reduce standard of living of inhabitants. A country with eroding ecological assets becomes dependent on net importers from other countries. Need for resources can lead to an unequal exchange when there's an imbalance between imports and exports. The insustainability sets in if there is a continuous reduction of ecological assets to one trading partner. This situation is evident in poor countries, which are taken advantage of as exporters, even though they are not receiving any sort of advantage. Rich country illusion is when rich countries have more money to preserve their own ecological capita by importing capacity from poor countries. This leads to the deterioration of global national capital since rich countries excessively use and waste resources and the poor countries receive less in the exchange. Due to these global factors, the standard of living will continue to decrease unless we decrease consumption, improve organizations, reduce dependence of imports and of low-priced biocapacity, and reduce global inequalities.